We are back with another episode of Unlicensed Therapy with me, your host, Ari Mannis. If you're new to the show, you're going to like it. You're going to like the show. So just subscribe right now, down below. Click subscribe, leave a review on iTunes, hit the bell icon, do all those things. We also sell merchandise at arimannis.com, arimannis.com, children's book, t-shirt, you name it. Tell your friends about this show. Share it. Today's guest is Earl Skakel. If you're not familiar with Earl, he is a staple here at the Hollywood comedy scene, at the Comedy Store. He's done the roast battle on Comedy Central. He is the voice of the dad on the show The Jellies. But hey, maybe that doesn't sell him, so I'm going to play a clip for him right now.
Yeah, here's the roast battle. I have the roast battle. What's happening right now? Uh-oh, what the fuck? What do you gotta say, Earl? What the fuck is
It's good to be here in the show that I helped start. I've beaten all you open micers in the back. There's a few people in this room that I've wanted to roast battle. I offered to battle Jeff, but I guess I'm not an NBA player.
But you are dressed for Pirates of Penzance.
You couldn't afford this jacket.
Looks like the lining to a nicer jacket.
Interesting coming from someone who looks like Mr. Clean with a thyroid condition.
Oh, you win.
I owe all my credits to Jeff. I got no beef with Jeff. I got no beef with anyone.
Except whoever used to be that jacket.
What a VIP section. There's a man in here who has conquered the acting world. Not you.
You guys shut up, let Mandy Patinkin finish.
Now listen to my replacement. So a few guys in here who got my sloppy seconds, but much like your comedy, your dick couldn't follow me. The autistic kid with a line. Next week, I want to battle you, Mr. Piven. Now, I know Adam Hunter isn't here tonight, or else I would challenge you tonight.
Damn!
Next week, you can take a night off at the Laugh Factory where you're incredible. You don't have to kiss Jay Davis's ass anymore.
That was Earl Skakel. Nice guy, funny guy. Enjoy the episode.
I'm pretty sure that you have a way harder time getting through life than the average person, Ari. I don't know why anybody would listen to this. I know I won't.
Ari, your advice single-handedly broke up my marriage. You're an awful person.
You're 24 years old. Why would I listen to you? Why would you be giving therapy and advice to people who clearly need it? It doesn't make any sense, Ari. This is a horrible idea.
You're listening to
Unlicensed Therapy with Ari Mannis.
Take two.
Yeah. I think we started at you saying I don't believe in COVID.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to book your own guests, but
Right.
I knew, Earl, he's a non-believer.
No, I'm just careful and I have the insides of a 20-year-old. So
Earl, he is a red, ultra-right-wing Trumper who knows COVID is not real.
I wouldn't say that. I voted for Trump.
You did?
Absolutely.
I was just joking around. Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is the juice I wanted. Why did you vote for Donald Trump?
I think he's a horrible person. Mm-hmm. He lost me at the grab him by the pussy line.
You did? That's locker room talk.
I've played sports. I'm 52. I've played organized sports for probably 35 years. I've never once been in a locker room where a guy said, grab him by the pussy.
Okay, I'm going to call you out live on the podcast right now. I have said worse shit to you, and you have said way worse shit to me than grab her by the pussy.
Name one thing I've said
camera. I'm not going to do it. I don't have a quote of you.
But you can't say that, though.
We have said way more fucked up shit in the back of the OR.
I don't think I've ever said anything like that. I've said, hey, look at those tits.
Now, let me clarify. When you've said this, it is in jest. We are comedians at the Comedy Store trying to get laughs and rises out of each other. I don't believe you have said anything about women or have done anything to women that violates their personal space or their boundaries or what they want. I don't think you've offended anyone ever. And I will say that about you and about me. But if you get mad at a dude who off air is like, I'd like to grab her by the pussy, come on.
Dude,
that's a dude being a dude. That is just an off-color joke to his companion.
But I've never, and the side comment, he said, wait, you can grab him by the pussy, you can do anything you want with him. I've never said that about a woman. I've never, ever even...
You said besides comedy.
No, I said the side comment.
Side comment.
The grab him by the pussy line gets the big... attention, but he also was like, yeah, you can throw them around, you can do whatever you want. I've never thought of women like that.
I mean, I guess you're right. I don't have a quote of you saying anything.
I've admired women. I might have said to Ari when, so-and-so walks by, hey, her ass is looking good tonight. But
isn't that the same thing?
It's not. When you say grab him by the pussy.
I think if there was a clip of Trump going, man, look at that sweet ass, I'd like to finger her ass, I think that would be... that would get way worse shit than grab her by the pussy. Equal.
The whole point, I think he's a horrible person.
Yeah, I do too.
But I don't vote for president based on if they're a good person or not. They're all scum. Biden hung out with Robert Byrd, who was like...
Who's Robert Byrd?
He was like in the KKK.
Okay.
He supported him, so he's a pig. No, I'm serious. I know. If we vote,
I believe you.
If they're a good person, we're never going to vote.
Right.
I like Trump's economic policies, and my money's in the stock market, so that's why I voted for him. Because I think Biden and Harris, not that this is a political...
Right, Trump is better if you have a little bit of money, which, from my understanding, I haven't seen your bank account, but you have a little bit of money.
Well,
you're doing okay.
What's having a little bit of money is different. Russell Peters, if he says, I have a little bit of money, that's millions. Rogan, 100 million Spotify deal, and he had a lot of money before that deal. That's rich to me. I can walk into Erewhon, which is the most expensive...
Are you open to talking about your money? If I guessed how much money you have?
Well, it's all paper money. It's paper money.
If I guessed your paper money, would you say more or less? Okay, and I have nothing to base this off of. I don't know. I literally know nothing about your finances. I know you have a decent car, and I know you have a nice condo in West Hollywood, but a modest condo. You don't have you don't live in a crazy house. You live in a nice old building, 2-bedroom condo with a pool.
It's 2-bedroom, 3-bath, 1,800
It's nice.
square
it's
feet.
Beautiful. But it's not like you wouldn't walk into your condo. I know in West Hollywood it's still very expensive, but if your condo was in Phoenix, you would not be considered a rich by any means.
My condo in Phoenix would be very nice.
It'd be in Phoenix, your condo...
In Austin, since everyone's moving to Austin.
Okay, in Austin, your condo might be like $500,000.
Put it this way.
Austin?
If I sold my condo in L.A. prices, I could probably get either $1 million or a shade under $1 million.
Right.
Let's say 900,000.
Agreed.
900 grand in Austin could get me a mansion.
Agreed.
So
So that's why I'm going to guess your net worth is around $2 million.
Well, are you counting just me or the family businesses if we liquidated them?
If you were to die right now and you had a next of kin, which you don't, but if you had a son, how much money and assets would your son get? I'm guessing about $2 million. And it's just a guess. I could be dead wrong.
Well, here's the thing. Like when my parents passed away 2 months apart.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, I mean,
I'd like to get into that too.
Absolutely. 1998. So there was
the year the Padres went to the World Series against the New York Yankees. Do you remember that?
Yankees.
I mean, I don't remember that particular sport. I'm a hockey guy, so
right. So you do. So if I said who went to the World Series before I just told you 1998, you wouldn't remember because of your parents.
No, I just don't follow baseball enough.
Right.
I could tell you the Cincinnati Reds were in the World Series in '91 because my dad was friends with the owner. So, you know.
A little name drop there.
Well, but it's true.
No, I'm just kidding.
Marge shot, and then, well, he was best friends with the Steelers owner, which people ask me, why are you a Steelers fan? Because you grew up in L.A. My dad was friends with Art Rooney, not Junior, but the old, if you ever see Steeler highlights from the 70s, when the guy...
I feel dumb. Who's Art Rooney?
He was the owner of the Steelers.
Okay.
He invented the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Gotcha.
They were his team. He was friends with him, so I got, like, memorabilia as a kid.
Yeah, and got to go to some games, maybe.
I never did. I got...
Bummer.
Every year they won the Super Bowl. So, was it 76, 77, and then 79 and 80. I got a game-used Super Bowl ball.
Oh, wow. Do you still have that?
Here's the crazy thing. Autographed by the whole team.
Damn.
Now, I know this isn't a sports podcast, but...
Sure, but anyone, even whether you like sports or not, you can appreciate a
this
game-used...
This is interesting.
Game-used Super Bowl football.
Signed by the whole team.
That's going to have value and be cool.
Automatically, that would be, wow, that's a cool ball signed by the whole team.
Yeah.
What bumps it a level in terms of coolness is 9 of the 22 starters of the Pittsburgh Steelers went to the Hall of Fame.
Whoa. Do you know this, Milan? Milan's a big sports guy.
I knew that the Steelers were really good back in the day, but I couldn't tell you 9. I mean, that's a random number.
Yeah.
So essentially, half of the starters went into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So, you know,
this ball is signed by 9 Hall of Fame football players.
All 4 balls.
All Super Bowl.
It was the same, basically the same starters for those 4 years. Mm-hmm. So you have Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris, Lynn Swann, John Stallworth, Mean Joe Green, a couple other, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, Andy Russell, Mel Blount, Donnie Shell. Just off the top of my head.
Right.
I was such a loser that, and even though I
sold it for crack.
No, I come from a family of 5. So, but we were raised like wolves. We love each other to this day, but we're not close. Like
when you say you love each other, your siblings?
Yes.
Okay.
Who are all still alive.
Uh-huh.
But we didn't play a lot together, so I would stand about right there in my backyard and throw these footballs against the wall like this. I would play.
It was your favorite ball throw around.
I would play catch with myself.
Why would your parents let you?
Well, nowadays sports memorabilia. Joe Rogan signed this microphone. It would be automatically worth $1,000 to some fan.
I didn't think about that. If he signed a Shure SM7B, it probably would be a cool thing to get Joe Rogan to sign. And we could probably make that happen. It'd be weird if I went up to Joe Rogan because he knows me a little bit, knows my name, and asked him to sign a microphone. I would feel like a dumbass, even though that would be cool.
But if you put that microphone, say you made a little display right here, and you reached out to your fans and say, "Hey, I'm having a live auction for COVID relief or whatever."
It would do well. It would do well. You're right.
Some super fan would be like, "I'll give you $1,000." You might even get
more. Yeah.
I just had my neighbor, the great Steve Stevens, who is Billy Idol's guitar player.
Oh, that's cool. He's in your building?
No, he's like
a few streets down.
Yeah, he's a West Hollywood inhabitant.
Right.
He signed a ray gun. During his guitar solo for Rebel Yell, right in the middle, he takes out a ray gun and he turns it on and he rubs it against the strings and makes this really cool effect.
Is a ray gun for music? What's a ray gun?
It's like almost a toy gun, but he found this particular brand of toy gun that if you rub it against the strings while it's on, it vibrates.
Yeah.
He signed one of his ray guns for me. Now, that ray gun is literally a $20 toy.
Right.
But if I said right now on this podcast, I should have brought the ray gun because it's kind of neat, and said, hey, any Billy Idol fans want this? Steve Stevens touched this. He signed it to me, which ruins the value if you sign it to, like, I guarantee you someone would pay a couple $1,000s for it.
Right.
So those footballs, if I didn't do anything to them.
Yeah, you kept them in great condition.
Mint, what they call in the collector's world, mint condition. I would guess 9 Hall of Fame autographs, which is unheard of to get that many on one item.
Game used item.
Game used Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now, it's hard for me to prove that, but the owner said, hey, here's a ball from the game.
Right.
I didn't keep that note, which would have been another cool
validated
item.
Even more.
I'll guess if they were in mint condition, 9 Hall of Fame autographs, 50 to 100 grand each ball.
What do you think, Milan? Accurate?
Accurate for sure.
Well, I mean, but that is in the mintiest of condition.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
They're not faded.
So you got to think, even if it was shitty,
25
grand
each ball.
But just knowing in your family, and correct me if I'm wrong, your parents had a little money too, so they probably just didn't care about this football. They're just like, yeah, cool.
Well, I think back in the 70s and early 80s, until the rise of collecting baseball cards, like getting a mint, Dave Parker.
No one thought about it as much.
Oh, we can sell these and make money. Like, it was just, oh, here's a cool item someone autographed. So, like, I have an autographed baseball by Ken Griffey, not Ken Griffey Jr., but the dad, and that's worth a lot of money. Anything to do with Ken Griffey Jr. is money.
Right.
But now that is in mint condition. I literally put it in one of those plastic boxes.
And you have a lot of jerseys.
Yeah, but I'm getting rid of them all, so I can build it. I don't want them anymore, so I want to build a podcast room like this.
But why don't you keep them up as the back of the wall, like the decor of the podcast?
Well, I
room?
might. I'll keep like 2 or 3 to like that would be cool to have jerseys like in the back of me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd rather just sell them and build a room like this.
Yeah.
Because, this, like you said yourself, half your listeners now are from video. Mm-hmm. And if there's one regret, and first of all, I want to say this man is the reason I started Inappropriate Earl. I'm
not the reason you started, but I helped you. I'm not the reason you would have done it without me, but I was fortunate enough to get to help you.
I couldn't have done it without you because I think the first 5 episodes, I had to go over to his house on Fountain and say, how do I edit this? Like, how do I put the song here? And you showed me and you got me software.
And even more surprisingly, you learned how to do it.
Well,
Earl is a very dumb man.
Absolutely.
Very dumb. Technologically.
Horrible.
So looking back, I had the patience to show him, and he had the patience and actually put in the effort to learn, because I can say this. And I've taught a lot of people, I've showed a lot of people things, and I would say well over half give it a shot and go, you know what, this is too much. And they either pay someone to do it or they don't do it and they give up. And you actually took the time. You got a routine going. Not to say, obviously, you're not the best podcast producer in the world, but you made a decent product and you learned how to do it and did it week after week, and probably have a good system now of how you edit and release your podcast.
It's the same system. I have one song at the front and back. It's the same song from those first 5 episodes. I don't edit. Like I've had 5 guests say the N-word on my podcast. One of them was white. And
are you allowed to say who?
I don't want to blow up his spot.
You don't have to. I'm just checking.
But a very funny comic.
Jeff Ross?
No.
Okay.
I've had Jeff Ross on the podcast.
He didn't say it, though?
No. He was, that was an interesting podcast for several reasons. But, he says to me after the podcast, the guy who said the N-word, the white guy, he's like, hey, you're going to edit that out, right? I'm like, no.
Oh, damn.
So you say it, it's going to be on it. So
now I'll tell you this, and I've said this to other guests before. This isn't the first time I'm saying this. If you say the N-word today, I'll edit it out for you. There's a safe space. I'm not here to make you look bad. No. You could say the N-word 5 times right now, and I'll bleep it out every time for you.
Well, here's this. It probably would be the best joke I would ever tell, because it's about the first time I heard that word. One night I'm on stage at the Comedy Store, and somehow I forget what I was talking about, but it was like this. I think it was on the cartoon I'm on. I get to say the N-word sometimes. I shouldn't say I get to. I'm like, it's in the script.
Just to be clear, Earl is on a cartoon. Is that cartoon still going?
It's in the air. The ratings were very strong, but Tyler, the creator, is...
Tyler's creator's cartoon.
It's called The Jellies.
Continue. The Jellies.
Well, he's so...
he has so much going on that he doesn't really need it.
He absolutely doesn't need it.
Right.
Like, he's so famous, or whatever the right word is.
Successful.
Successful, famous,
black.
Busy. He is black. His checks don't bounce. That the cartoon to him is literally probably 7th or 8th on his priority list. For me, it's 1.
Right.
Because
were you on every episode?
I was the dad. I'm the only white guy on the show.
Would you say that's like your biggest break in show business to date? That show?
I mean, I would say Roast Battle, even though I think my feelings on that show are well known.
So you think Roast Battle has done more for you than the Jellies?
I think long term, the cartoon will definitely help me more than Roast Battle.
Which has paid more?
It's close, just because in my season of Roast Battle, I won like $20,000. I would say long term, the Jellies will pay me more because I get residuals.
So this is interesting to me as well. So you're reoccurring on the Jellies. I assumed you got.
I'm not reoccurring. I'm the lead character.
Right. You're lead character on the Jellies. So I assumed, what channel is that show on?
Adult Swim.
Adult Swim. So that's
stream
TV.
it.
I would have assumed you would have gotten like a SAG minimum for being a lead character on an animated cartoon, that you would have got well over $20,000 for that.
Well, I mean,
cartoon.
I got...
And how many seasons?
3 seasons.
3 seasons of a cartoon on Adult Swim.
Well, 2 on Adult Swim. The first season was on his app.
Got it. Okay, so 2. Even 2.
Oh, absolutely.
I would have assumed you're getting... How long are each episode?
I think it's 12 minutes on Adult Swim.
So I would have assumed you would have gotten $2,000 an episode.
It's around that, but it's only like, I think it's 10 episode seasons.
Okay.
Here's the kicker, like an anime.
So that should be $40,000 right there, if it's around that.
Well, no, 10 episodes.
But 2 seasons. So that's 20 episodes.
So it's around $20,000.
Okay.
Plus you get residuals. Like I get decent money in streams. Like Roast Battle, I have not made $1. Some of my battles are...
Because that's non-union, right?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Like, yeah. I think that's why.
Like, they don't pay...
you don't get residuals.
Like, my battles are some of the more popular ones, especially the one with Jimmy Carr, because he's like the biggest... one of the biggest comics in the world. I've not made a penny.
Yeah, I think it's because that is not a union show, so they don't have to do shit.
So
they could have paid you $200 once, and that was it.
Right.
If they wanted to.
I get obviously you don't recognize someone from a voiceover work, but like I get recognized. I would say 2 times a week from, hey, you're that guy from Roast Battle.
Oh, that's a lot.
Even when I travel, like I went to a Nashville Predators game in Nashville. And I had like 2 or 3 people go, hey, you're that guy from Roast Battle. Because I take off my shirt and do all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, you're a memorable person on Roast Battle.
Which is crazy that I only got 1 season. Unbelievable.
Well, you're a straight white man.
Yeah, but I was good. I was good at the craft. But hey, let's get Blake Griffin on the show.
You're not famous, and you're a straight and you're a straight white man.
But that's the thing with
so you're lucky to even gotten 1. Thinking about it, I'm surprised they weren't like, oh, yeah, you know that guy who's been at every live show in the Belly Room for years before this was a TV show? We're replacing him.
That
wouldn't have shocked me one bit.
They tried.
Yeah, exactly.
They were like, because I was the house heckler.
Let's take him, but let's get a diverse lesbian woman to play him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They try to get rid of the DJ, who's the quickest guy in the show.
And he's African-American.
Right.
So why would they try and get rid of him? He fits the
Well, because he's not technically famous.
Got it. Oh, yeah, they could have gotten...
Well, hey, let's get Wayne Brady.
Right, exactly.
But like Coach T, he's the quickest guy on the show, and you know Moses is great, but Coach T is like I had a joke once. Now Coach T has about 80,000 sound files. You know, he's got the computer set up.
Yeah, and is able to use them all off the cuff in that moment and make them funny.
And I never once said, "Hey, I'm going to do a joke about this tonight," so have that file ready. And there was like. Battle going on. I had a Boys in the Hood joke. I said it because I think the guy looked like Ricky, you know, the guy who gets shot at the end. Boys in the Hood. I mean, I know this movie's a long time ago, but like Cuba his
Cuba
brother
Gooding.
in the
Yeah,
movie
yeah.
gets shot at the end.
So you do this obscure reference joke. Coach T has a sound bit lined up.
1 second later, Coach T has that scene where Cuba Gooding's like, Ricky! I still to this day don't know how he pulled that up. I'm not kidding you. It was 1 second after
I believe you. Yeah, he's incredible.
So, yeah.
You go to that show sometime. It's one of those shows. It's a live show, so you never know what you're going to get. Some nights were better than others, undoubtedly.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
Roast battles. So there were all horrible nights, but there were great nights. And you go, and some of these great nights, you're watching the show, and it's hard to believe that it's all just kind of flown together like that because there's so many things going on. There's so many different pieces and people. It's amazing how polished it can be.
Well, especially before Jeff got there, it was like the Wild West. Like,
yeah.
No one was trying to get on TV. It was like, you knew the store back then, like 2015.
Oh, that's when I used to go every week when it was, the open mic. And then it became like a segment of the open mic, and then it became its own thing.
And week by week, it got bigger and bigger.
And bigger and bigger.
And
it was in its heyday. It was the thing everyone talked about. You going to the roast battle night? You going to watch it? Yeah,
because it was wild.
It was wild.
And
I never once wanted to do it because I'm sensitive, and even though it's mostly jokes, I know someone would give me some roast about me, and I'd be like, is that what people think about me? Like, I never wanted to do that. I never did it once.
I mean, I hated doing it. Like, I'm a big 80s metal guy, and like, if you ask most of those guys, they hated playing that music. But it was popular, and they knew, like, CC DeVille from Poison, like, you see him, you see the blonde hair, the pink guitars, you think, oh, he must
He was a money grab?
He was a classically trained guitar player. Like, he would play, like, Beethoven and Bach.
Right.
But there's no money in that.
Right.
So I'm sure at some point in the mid-'80s, he was like, I'm not making any money playing classical stuff. I'm going to paint my hair blonde, pink guitars. He's a millionaire many times over now.
Right.
That's how I was with Roast Battle. It's
and that thought crossed my head, too, of course, because you see all these comedians, and I'm not going to say names. Some of them are talented. Some of them weren't that talented, who essentially have some of them have writing careers now, have gone on to do really cool opportunities from Roast Battle. And yeah, the thought crossed my head, man, you don't want to do that, but are you stupid for not signing up for the Roast Battle? Because that could lead to
I think
this. But I still never did it.
I think, the writing gigs are tough because like, it leads to one writing gig, but then when you're on a regular TV show that's not Roast Battle, where you're looking at someone, I mean, Roast Battle is skilled bullying. I mean, let's be honest. Let me call her fat before she calls me old. Or, let me call Ari, I don't know.
It's insulting each other in a funny way.
But it's hurt them before they hurt you.
Yeah. Hurt them worse than they hurt me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I was good at it because I know what they're going to say about me. He's old. That's fine. I look better than you.
Yeah.
Unless it's Matt Broussard. Then, we all lose to him.
Yeah.
But,
handsome guy.
He likes young girls. But they're legal. I know you've got some issues in your past, Chief. Not you, but, certain people. So go ahead, bring that up. He's related.
Yeah, you had defenses ready to go because you knew what they were going to say.
Right. So I think someone like you would have been good at it because, like, although you're incredibly known on the scene, no one really knows the real Ari Mannis.
Right.
So you might like young chicks, you might not. You might like old chicks. I don't know anything about your family. How long have we known each other?
Years.
Almost.
I was going to ask you about your family today. That was part of my plan.
But you can Google my family. Oh, Ethel is his aunt, Ethel Kennedy. So you can.
I don't know, but I never have. I want to get it from you.
But you can maybe do some Kennedy jokes, or I've got some cousins who had some legal issues.
I never even really knew if you were a Kennedy because Don Barris would always say it.
Well, I'm not.
So I'm like, is he a Kennedy? What is that thing?
By marriage. So I don't count it. My Aunt Ethel married Bobby Kennedy.
So, who's Bobby Kennedy again?
He was the second Kennedy brother that got killed.
He got assassinated too?
1968, the year I was born.
And your aunt was married to him, your mom's sister.
My dad's sister.
Your dad's sister was married to him.
So I would get a lot of Kennedy jokes.
But do you get any perks for being Kennedy?
No, obviously I'm 52 and still doing open mics.
Yeah, but maybe that's because you're Kennedy. You're allowed. You have perks that are paying for your life. I don't know.
Well, I mean, like, I'm very prideful. So my Aunt Ethel is one of the probably under 10 people in the world who could call up any head of any studio, any TV show, and that phone call is taken on 2 rings or less. It's Ethel Kennedy. Like, no one is going to refuse her phone call. I realized I could call her up and say, hey, can you call up the head of Comedy Central? I'm on this new show called Roast Battle. Can you just make sure I'm taken care of? But I didn't do that.
Right.
And I should have. Looking back now, I should have. But
Are you close with
no,
Aunt
I'm not
Ethel?
close with her at all, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But she's the type that she would do it for me because her and my dad were bizarrely close, like in an Addams Family type of way.
Yeah, brother and sister.
But they weren't, like, to show you how weird they were, I'm at the Bel Air Hotel one day on a Sunday afternoon. It's weird how you can remember something like it just happened. I'm eating a burger with my dad. My dad used to drink at the Bel Air Hotel with Harry Nilsson, who's the 5th Beatle.
So did you grow up in L.A.?
I grew up in Bel Air.
Okay, in Bel Air.
It's very lucky. When you tell people Bel Air, everyone's, oh, this guy's loaded. My dad bought a home in Bel Air in the early 60s when Bel Air was no nicer than, say, Culver City. That's not a knock on Culver City, but, Culver
City's pretty nice, yeah.
But it's just an average neighborhood. Yeah. It's nothing special about it. And then the Bel Air fire happened in the mid-'60s. It literally burnt down every home in Bel Air but ours. So we were like getting on the ground floor of a IPO. Like we were in this undeveloped hillside that meant nothing to nobody. And then all of a sudden,
what's the place to be?
Rich people wanted to live there for whatever reason. So I grew up there. And, like we were members at Bel Air Country Club. And now I think it's like $300,000 or $400,000 to join or something crazy like that.
Too bad you didn't keep your membership.
Yeah, it's really sucked. I had some good times there. But
what is that? Does that mean blowjobs?
I had some scenes there. They had a steam room. Oh, it was great. It was like they had a
co-ed steam room?
No. It was a very sexist environment. Women could literally only be there they could only play golf on Friday mornings from like 9 to 11.
Was that the one that didn't allow Jews, or they did allow Jews?
Well, they have different country clubs, like Hillside.
Some of them don't allow Jews, didn't allow Jews, right?
I think it's Hillside is the Jewish country club. So if you're non-Jewish, it's very hard to join.
Got it.
And like, I think Brentwood Country Club is another club where they prefer Jewish members.
Interesting.
At least they did.
Yeah.
Like Bel Air, there were hardly any black people.
Sure.
Really, I can't recall of one.
I mean,
black
it's a golf
member.
club. There's not that many black golfers. There's more now,
Well, there are now,
especially back then.
But I mean, I remember they wouldn't let Michael Jordan play one day. They're like, no.
And he was Michael Jordan at the time.
This is prime Michael Jordan.
Wow.
I think the rumor is literally the next day he joined like 10 country clubs just to be like, F you guys, I don't need it. But that's where I heard the N-word for the very first time. It's the whole point of this wacky story is I would love to do the joke because it's such it would be my closer. And one night at the Comedy Store, I'm talking about, I think, being on the cartoon, and there was this huge black dude in the room, and he was kind of like daring me to say the N-word. I'm like, dude, I can't say that word. And he's like, I'm like, dude, I can't. He's like, dude, I'm giving you permission. He was like a football player or something. He was gigantic. And I'm like, well, I do have a funny story about the first time I heard that word, and the punchline's a lot funnier if I can say the actual word. So he's like, dude, you get a hall pass this one time. Just don't get used to it. I'm like, you got it. So I do the story of the first time I heard the N-word, and it's the funniest story because I had no idea what it meant. I'd never heard the word before. So long story short, I shot bogey golf on the front nine of Bel Air Country Club. Now, bogey golf is 1 over par. Mm-hmm. So
it's pretty good for an amateur golfer.
For a guy who never really had lessons or whatever, just was swinging, it's very good. From the men's tees. So it's not like I was playing from the junior tees.
It'd be impressive from the junior tees.
So, not really. But from the men's tees, it's impressive.
It'd be impressive to me from any tees.
Like, yeah. Well, it's like golf is a very hard game to master.
Yes.
It's literally... The difference between a great shot and you spraying your ball into the woods is 1/4 of an inch of where you hit the ball. So I ran into the grill room, which is where all the old members would hang out and watch football games and smoke cigars and gamble. And I'm like, guys, I just shot bogey golf on the front nine. And one of the oldest members there is like, Earl, that's golf. And I'd never heard that word before. So the next day I run down to the caddy yard, which of course is all black.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, guys, Mr. Jackson said I shot golf. And the biggest, blackest caddy comes up to me. This guy was like a pro wrestler. He was like 6'5". He was like obese, like 400 pounds. He just looks up, and his name was Ray Hood. Why I remember his name, I'll never know. And he's like, Earl, we love Mr. Jackson, but don't ever say that word again. I'm like, why not? And, the room at the Comedy Store, it erupted in laughter.
Wait, how old were you?
I was probably 48. No, I'm just kidding. No, I was like, that was the beauty of it, was I was like maybe 13, 14 years old.
Okay.
So it was just the night.
Yeah, you were a naive,
I was naive,
sheltered Bel Air boy.
Grew up in Bel Air. The only two black people in Bel Air were Kareem and OJ. OJ used to throw me the football as a kid.
I think OJ did it. What do you guys think?
Well, although his blood was everywhere but in his own body that night, no. Of course he did it. What do you think, they committed suicide? So, that's the story of how
you heard the N-word for the first time.
I can't.
And then said it to a room full of black caddies.
Right.
With golf clubs in their hands.
But you just can't. The joke.
And then said it at the Comedy Store.
The joke isn't funny unless someone who looks like me says that word, but I can't.
Right.
I just can't. Especially now.
Yeah, it's like you can't, and now you can't even more,
Well, the cancel culture's out in full. I mean, I don't have anything to worry about to my knowledge, but
we were talking about this a little bit before the podcast. See, I think you do have something to worry about.
I don't think you can take down someone for being good with women.
I think you can.
Well, it depends.
That's where I disagree.
But here's the thing. Some of our comrades, and we don't have to name names. Some are famous, some aren't. And it's through dating younger girls that I've learned this is I don't burn chicks. Like, even one-night stands I keep in touch with. Not for future...
allegations.
No, not for future hookups, but, it's just how I was raised. Treat everyone good. Don't have enemies. I think some people... hump and dump. And that's where you get into...
Here's what, first off, it's hard to control who your enemies are because people
Not really.
Mad. People are sensitive. So if you stop seeing someone,
but if you
they'll hold against you. For example, I don't want to say names, but let me tell you, one of your ex-girlfriends hates you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I don't think you did anything to deserve hate necessarily. You know what I mean? But you can't control someone else's feelings because they're hurt in whatever way, whatever they heard, jealousy. Sometimes it's just out of your control. Someone's feelings on you. You could do all the right things, but if you're not with that person anymore, they hear the wrong thing, they can despise you.
But that's exactly what happened
in
that case.
Agreed. I'm on agreement with you. But unfortunately, in today's world, in this current world we're in, you could blow up tomorrow. And all it takes is for her to come out and be like, Earl's horrible. He did this. And now you're in the limelight as being a horrible guy. And you can't choose what people are going to believe about you, no matter what you say. If this is in Variety, there's going to be 100,000 people reading it. 20,000 might go on Twitter and be like, Earl is a horrible guy. Look at what this girl said about him. He's a terrible guy. And that is why we still, even though I don't think we do anything wrong, we still, or at least me, I am fearful of cancel culture. Think about this. You're 52 years old, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're good with women, let's say.
Well,
let's say
I'm okay.
You're okay. You're not a nerd. You're not a virgin. Let's say 52 years old. I don't know how many people you've been with. Let's say you've been with 100 women. Let's just say. Maybe it's 200, maybe it's 10. I don't know.
I don't keep track.
Yeah, I don't keep track.
But it's a fair amount.
Let's just say it's 100. Let's say 2% of women you've been with are batshit crazy, and you didn't know that going in. And that's just, I don't think that's a crazy thing to say that 2% of women out there in Los Angeles that are pursuing the arts, whatever, LA women are crazy. So let's say 2 out of 100 women are absolutely bonkers, and you treated them perfectly respectful like a gentleman that you are. Now tomorrow you blow up, and they go, you know what? fuck Earl. I'm going to take him down. Just 2 women.
Oh, that can happen.
It could happen. And that is why I am scared of cancel culture.
But, I've gone through that, which is like in the X you're referencing. I'm at the Comedy Store one night, maybe about a year ago, and my fiance, who's in the back, just watching me in the hallway, a drunk roast battle comic comes up to her, and I don't think I've ever told this story before, but I think it's like the exclamation point of what we're talking about. Comes up to her and goes, "Hey, has Earl ever hit you?" And, of course, Chandler was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" "No." "Oh, well, his ex said he threw her down a flight of stairs," which I don't even have a side of the story to that.
Right. You're just like, what?
It's the first time I heard of it.
Right.
I'm like, my side of the story is no.
Yeah.
It didn't. And then I started going, okay, well, I'm analytical. You wouldn't think I'm analytical, because the 80s metal and pro wrestling. I said, okay, because I have an elephant's memory. I can remember dates I went on 12 years ago.
And you would remember somebody falling down the stairs, whether it was with you, because of you, not because of you. If you're with someone, even if you weren't there, you would remember them falling down the stairs.
But absolutely. And I literally reviewed every physical interaction I had with her, not like sexual stuff, but like, okay, did we ever walk up a flight of stairs and she slipped? Or did I slip and bump her and she could take that as, and just, there wasn't one remote incident where she could even misconstrue something like that. So, which is why during this last year of allegations for some of our friends, I'm like, we need to hear their side too.
Yes, exactly.
So, but yeah, I mean, absolutely. You can be taken down by a girl with false allegations, and once it's out there, you're fucked.
Exactly. You're so fucked.
True or not?
This happened to me last week. There was a girl, I think, I don't want to say her name, and she's not a comedian or anything, but she was a girl on Instagram, and like maybe I want to say 3 years ago, she DMs me, and she's like, "You're cute. I follow. I saw your comedy, and I just think you're so cute." And she goes, "Normally, I'm lesbian, but you're just I'm attracted to you." And we start talking, and she sends me nudes. Right? She sends me like a video of herself masturbating, and she's pretty. She's a pretty girl. I'm into it. And we're talking off and on for a few weeks. Not every day. We're not dating. We're just like talking. She lives in Canada. And then I'm with a buddy, and we're talking about girls, and somehow she comes up. Her name, something comes up, and he goes, "Oh, I'm talking to that girl too." And we're like, "Oh, really?" And I'm not mad. I'm like, "Okay, she sent me nudes. Did she send you nudes?" And he goes, "Yeah." We're comparing nudes. It's the same. She sent us like the exact same video, right? She's doing the same thing. Like, I don't know what weird game it is. Maybe she's talking to a couple people. It's okay. You're allowed to talk to more than one. She's not my girlfriend. We're not dating. But I'm like, a little peculiar, right? Then I see who she's following, and I see she's following a few other close friends of mine that are comedians, and I call them and I go, "Hey, is this girl? Are you talking to this girl too?" Turns out she's been doing the same thing to like 10 comedians, right? Sending them nudes, talking to them, blah blah blah. I call her out on it. I'm like, "Hey, I don't think we should talk anymore. I just found out from this person that you sent them the exact same nudes. You're talking to them too. It's just a little weird for me. I don't want to talk to you anymore." That's the end of it. We unfollow each other on Instagram. It's over, right? Last week, she sends this guy a screenshot saying, "I see that you posted one of Ari's videos. I can't talk to you anymore. What'd she say? She said he mentally abused me and blackmailed me for over a year, and he's a pedophile that likes underage women." She says this about me to someone, to one of my peers. And I'm like, I have nothing to say. I don't even know where that's coming from. So it's just craziness. It's just absolute craziness. But I have a fear now. Now in the back of my head, I have this fear that there's some crazy chick in Canada that one day is going to tell the world, I was talking to Ari, here's screenshots of us talking. I could tell you firsthand that he's a pedophile and he blackmailed me and he likes underage women. All I could be is like, no. That's all I could say. No, it's not true. I never said that.
I mean, yeah,
it's insane.
It's scary. Like, but like when I heard that about me, I'm proactive. Like, I reached out to every one of our friends and said, hey, man, I don't know what you've heard, but that, like, now luckily no one believed her. Like, because it's like people. I think people were like, we probably would have seen bruises or something, or like,
or you would have talked about it.
You would have
prior
had
or
a broken.
Anything.
Like I'm a strong. I hate to even like say something like this, but I'm a strong guy. If I threw you down a flight of stairs, your brother down a flight of stairs, you guys would be injured. Like, no, I mean it's just.
Or
like,
at least you're very capable of doing it physically.
Like you could say, well, you're good at you watch UFC, you're good at hiding bruises. But like I reached out to every one of our mutual friends and said, I don't know what you've heard, but this did not happen. They're like, oh, we know, dude. But still, she could still come out tomorrow, and like before the Jellies season 3 airs.
All it takes is for one reporter to be like, "That seems like a good story. Sure, let's talk about it, and I'll put it in Variety.
Oh,
whatever.
I'll
put it wherever.
I've had reporters reach out to me about certain people on Roast Battle and be like, "What have you heard?" And I'm like, "I'm not getting involved, man." Like,
no comment.
Which I was like, I don't want to. It doesn't concern me, because when I did speak out about something, I was basically told to be quiet. It's not my fight. When I was speaking out about certain.
Well, if you already spoke out about it, you could say what you're talking about, because I have no idea.
Well, I mean, I think there's some people in the LA comedy scene who have issues with underage stuff. And,
gotcha.
When I spoke out about it, I was told by a network executive, dude, it's not your fight. It's the girl's fight. If she feels violated, she'll speak out about it. I'm like, that's not how it works, dude. Like, victims sometimes don't. Like, I was attempted Me Too'd, probably it was 25 years ago by a huge casting director. He attempted to do something twice. And at the time, I was like, oh, this is just how the business is.
Yeah.
So I didn't really.
You just shook it off. You're like, well, not going to go around. I'm going to try and avoid that guy.
Yeah. And, but then like when Rose McGowan started speaking out about the Harvey Weinstein stuff, I started to go, oh, I guess I was a victim. Like, that was kind of fucked up. So I think my point to the network executive was like, dude, like, just because she doesn't think she's a victim doesn't mean she isn't. I said, well, dude, it's not your fight. Were you involved? I'm like, no, I wasn't involved. Then don't worry about it. So, it is a scary time.
It's a weird, scary time.
I could say your brother tried to touch my pee-pee when I left the studio today.
And he did.
And
for sure. I'd back you.
But like he would literally never get it. If I tweeted that out when I got home today, he would never get a producing job in this town again. Because the allegations are around him.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if you Google his name, that's what pops up. It's horrible.
So
it's a horrible thing for him. It's a horrible thing for everyone he knows, his family.
Like your situation, like, well, nowadays screenshots, like, are. I mean, I'm not telling you about the technological aspects of allegations, but like, if you send a girl a dick pic, like, and you burn her. Especially,
oh man, it's out there forever.
She could tweet that out and go, "Look what he sent me. He was harassing me or whatever."
And you could also easily manipulate screenshots nowadays.
Oh yeah,
I could easily make a Photoshop version of me and Earl having a conversation and of him saying the N-word 17 times.
Absolutely,
and it would look so real.
But I think from one of the benefits of dating younger women is you see how they think and react and how they take things. And I would say, like, if you burn a 40-year-old woman, like she likes you and you just bail on her, she's just going to fuck one of your friends to get back at you. You burn a girl in her early 20s.
I remember that girl that you had, that girlfriend.
A few of those. But you burn a younger girl, you send her anything erotic or you tweeted her, I want to do this to you, or DM'd her, she's going to release that DM and go, well, look what a pig this guy is. So, you have to be, if there's a lesson to learn.
I've had that too.
be careful what you say. You know, I mean, look at what happened with D'Elia. You know, that his whole thing was screenshots.
Yeah.
Like, look what now. You know,
it's all D'Elia's whole thing is he said, she said. There's no proof. There's no court case.
Well,
it's all just she said this, he said this, and who are you going to believe? And most people believe all women. So he's done.
Well, I think in his case, and I'm friends with him. You know, full disclosure. Like, I think what looked worse for him was, you know, he messaged the girl who was 17, I guess, and she says, "Hey, you know, I'm 17." And he didn't message her again until, like, I guess the week she turned 18, and that just didn't look good. Like,
right.
You know, with the other cases, that's he said, she said, because there's no video or photo evidence of, you know, Callan or Jeff. You know, it's like the girl says one thing, they're saying something else, so it's like, okay, who do I believe?
Yeah, it's weird, man. It's weird. Let's stray away from this topic.
I don't know how we got on it, but
because it's I don't either, but it's unfortunately still relevant, and it
always will be. There'll always be,
and it's on our minds, and it happened fairly recently. I feel like it has been talked about a lot, but it's still something that when I haven't been around you in months. We haven't talked about it together, and it's something that's really prevalent in our world.
Well, I'm fascinated by the whole. You know, he said, she said, like, you know, it's like, how do you choose what to believe? You can only...
It's hard.
Like, make your decision based on what's in the middle. Like, you know, I didn't touch her. He touched me. And is there anything in the middle that, like...
Right. And you go, okay, well, I know him. I don't know her. It's really all just what do you choose to want to think.
Yeah. And then people delve into their backgrounds. Well, he dates notoriously young women, but she has mental issues. And so, like, does that stray your opinion? Or, you know, like...
And then the problem is, all we could do is, as a person, make our own opinion about that person based off of the evidence that we've heard and our experiences. But if I have the opinion, I kind of believe this guy, now you have, and you say that out loud, now you have 100 people that are like, well, fuck you then, you're a bad guy.
Yeah, well, it's like the Aziz one was literally the ultimate, he said, she said, like, she said it was sexual assault, he more or less said it was a bad date. Who are we to say it was or wasn't?
Who knows?
Like, we weren't there. So, you know, and so it's like, I'm just fascinated by the whole, because we're comics, like, you know, and we're, you know, we perform at some hypersexual clubs.
And we talk about hypersexual things in our acts, and we're also comics, we're also men, and we do like chicks.
Oh, absolutely.
You basically just can't be a rock star anymore. Back in the day, you know, a comedian was like a shitty rock star.
Yeah, I mean...
like a micro rock star. They're going out, they're performing for live audiences, they're getting drunk, they're doing cocaine, they're chasing pussy. You can't do that anymore. You got to be careful, because now there's a Me Too movement and cancel culture and the internet, and you combine social media, and you combine all those things, and you might lose your whole career and your identity and your reputation based off of chasing a girl.
Which, yeah, I mean, you're right. It takes one girl or a guy, you know.
Or a guy, yeah.
You know,
could happen the other way. Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he touched my leg at a strip club once.
Did he?
You know, yeah. It was crazy girls on La Brea and Sunset.
Were you like, this is cool, or you didn't like it?
I mean, I wasn't like, this is cool. I mean, I loved you, the negotiator, but I get your... And he just put his hand on my thigh and said, you look dangerous. And I'm like, oh, dude, like, I don't think so, bro. I love girls, man. So, but look at some of the guys like that actor Anthony Rapp, who, you know, came out, said he was inappropriate with him. It's like, you know... So I'm not worried, but like you almost have to be, even if you have nothing in your past. Like, it takes one person to sit there and say, you know, he hit me, I don't know, tried to put it in my ass, I didn't want it, like, you know.
I want to stray away from this topic a little bit, but I'm glad we talked about it. We got it out of our systems. You have been doing comedy for how long?
400 years.
400 years.
I've been doing it so long, I get asked that question a lot.
You don't even know.
I don't even remember when I started. I say 20 years now because I might have dabbled in open mics in like 99, 98, but I wouldn't say I was a comic.
Around when your parents died?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe a little after my parents died.
How did they die?
Mom did not believe in doctors, so she had about.
Was she like a hippie, or like why didn't she?
No, she just was a strange woman. She grew up in Cartersville, Georgia, which is like I think they still have lynchings there. Like it's a backwoods, but she was backwoods with a little bit of money, so it was a weird
combination.
Yeah, she had like 400 forms of cancer.
Okay, so she had cancer, didn't get treatment.
I couldn't even tell you what cancer she had. Like, I remember as a child, probably 7, 8 years old, I'd watch TV with her. I'd lie in bed with her. I would feel her arms, and she had golf ball lumps on her arms.
That sounds repulsive.
Looking back now, is clearly cancer tumors. And this was when I was 8 or 9 or whatever. She died, I guess, when I was 30. So, like, she
lived for 20 years with
hardcore cancer. She smoked too, so that didn't. She had lung cancer. She had liver. Her whole body was cancer.
Got it.
So we were prepared. I mean, Dad was sick too. Like
What did he die of?
He was such a hard partier when he was younger that his body basically just gave out. Renal kidney failure. So
when he partied, did he just do every drug he could get his hands on?
Whatever drugs they were doing, like he was more of a drinker. Like I said, he drank with Harry Nielsen. Like if you drink with Harry Nielsen, you're an alcoholic.
Got it.
But for the last 20 years of my life, he didn't touch a sip. He quit cold turkey. In probably the first 10 years of my life, I remember him being, pretty hammered. So his body just he died of a broken heart and kidney failure. Because as soon as Mom died, we knew, okay, he's dying.
So at a young age, fairly young, 30 years old, your parents have passed away.
2 months apart.
And at this point, you're like, I'm going to start comedy. Or you're thinking about your sense of humor is what, like, how did that mindset happen? Were you a fan of comedy? Why did this?
Well,
what made you decide, I'm going to try stand-up? I'm going to go to an open mic.
All my friends were high-level agents and managers. ICM, William Morris. I guess I don't think 3 Arts was around back then, but like places like 3 Arts.
Yeah.
I think Triad was a huge agency back then. I think they morphed into like William Morris or something. They were all like, dude, you're funnier than any of our clients. And they had, obviously gigantic clients if you're at those places. Just get into comedy. We'll help you. Just get your feet wet. We can't send you on auditions if you've never done comedy before. Like we'll send you on auditions for like the Tonight Show and I'm trying to think of other shows that were around at that time. There really weren't a lot of stand-up shows back then.
So they're telling you to do this, and you're like, all right, I'll give it a shot.
So I started doing open mics. I think I went to the Comedy Store my first time going, well, who doesn't want to start there?
Right.
Which in hindsight was a major mistake.
Sure, but you don't know. At the time,
you don't know.
You're just like, I love comedy. This is the best place to do comedy. Let's go here.
It's like someone going, I want to play basketball. I want to start in the NBA.
Right.
Like it just doesn't, even, and this is in the dark era of the Comedy Store. It's still, I was not ready. Because I saw Brody Stevens, who I love. He made an open micer cry. He was hosting Potluck. And this guy was up there bombing. And you got to understand, the open mic at the store in 2000 was not the open mic from last year, where it's, 200 people signing up. There's agents and managers in the room, the last couple of years, to see younger comics, see what they're
it's the hot spot.
Yeah,
Comedy Store is now the hot spot.
This was. It will be when it opens back up, but we can get into that later. But
who knows? But it definitely was before.
Like in 2000, it was like the bar in Star Wars. Like it
was dead.
Every unsavory character, I'll mention some names that probably won't mean anything to anyone, but like Scotty Barron, who would play dirty songs on his guitar that had 2 strings on it, homeless open micers. It looked like a bus depot,
Yeah.
Mixed in with maybe 1 or 2 normal comics. So this guy is up there bombing. Brody takes the mic from him, and I don't do a good Brody impression, but I'll give it a shot. Brody's like, "Where are you from, guy?" And the kid, he knew he had bombed, and he was like, La Jolla. And Brody was like, "Well, that drive just got a lot longer." Just the kid ran out crying. I've never seen him since. And then the next comic is John Little, who I don't know if he's been on this podcast,
No,
but he's what you would call a legendary L.A. Unknown comic, I guess. I hate saying open micer because he's not an open micer, but I don't know what the term is. Like,
right.
Unknown comic.
Yeah.
He gets up there, and Brody, who we all know, he had a loud voice, is picking up on some chick on the side mic. I don't think he was doing it on purpose, but he's trying to get her number. And John Little just got pissed and walked off the stage. And Brody's like, "You got to get back there and be professional." And John Little was like, "I'll be professional when you shut the fuck up and start paying me." And so this is my first interlude into the store. I'm like, oh, I'm not ready for this. And so I started at open mics in the Valley. And then, you know, I had an amazing work ethic. Like, I would say my first 3 to 4 years in comedy, I went up 3 times a night, 7 nights a week. Like, I was going up on average 20 times a week. I rarely took a night off. And even if I did, like, if I went to go see a concert, I'd go to an open mic after the concert. Even if I was with a chick, I'd be like, "Hey, I'll meet you at your house. I got to do this mic in Van Nuys, and then we'll hang out again." So, I mean, I wanted it.
Yeah.
So I had the experience level at 4 years in of probably someone who's been doing it 10 years because I was such a maniac. So, I mean, I've been doing comedy a long time, to answer your question.
But whatever happened with your agent and manager friends?
They all left the fucking business to get into real estate, except for one who's still in the business, and he can't. You know, comedy is its own island in the entertainment world. Like, you could be Tom Cruise's manager, and you see a funny comic. Let's say you're with Tom Cruise at the Comedy Store, and he sees you. And they think you're hilarious.
That's it. You got a career.
But, like, what I have found through my one friend who's a gigantic manager, his client list is unbelievable. He's probably the top manager of actors. I mean, he's in his late 40s, the manager. His client list is incredibly impressive. But in the stand-up world, like, it's just a different. He can't really help me because he could get me into a movie tomorrow, but if I wanted to say, like, "Hey, can you help me out with Roast Battle? I'm on this show, and I just want to make sure I'm taken care of," he would be clueless, too. So it didn't help me. So I got comfortable my first probably 7 years being king of the open micers. Like, I wouldn't say I was the funniest guy. But I was one of the, say, top 3 comics, usually on every show. And I was just comfortable. As soon as I would walk in, I'd get put up. You know, I would get put on before Whitney. Like, because I wouldn't say we started together, but, like, we did a lot of the same rooms. They would put me on before her. It was like, Earl Sarah, put him on. And then she would be like, "Hey, let's go right." And I'd be like, "I'm going to look for chicks." Like, I didn't tell her that, but I'd be like, "Oh, I can't. I'm not feeling well."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you didn't have the same work ethic.
Well, I did, but I'm a horrible networker. I'm better at it now, but, like, you know, like, I started doing rooms with Jeselnik pretty early on, and he would never say, "Let's write." He didn't need my help, but you know, he would, like, give me rooms to do, and I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go hook up with this girl." You know, to myself, I'm saying this. So, like, Natasha Leggero, I would do open mics with her, and, like, she would be like, "Hey, let's go to this room," and I'd be like, "I'm gonna go look for chicks."
Got it.
So I fucked up.
Your priorities weren't on.
I was
on making it. Your priorities were just.
Well, I still don't know what making it is. Like, you know, to some open micers, I've made it. Like, they look at me and go, "Okay, you were on I'm Dying up here in a very small role, but recurring. You're a voice actor on a top cartoon," which is what I'm most proud of, because to break into the voiceover world is 100 times harder than stand up.
Yeah,
because
tight knit community over there.
Well, it's like this weekend. Let's say we're not in a pandemic. There's probably 100 A rooms across the country, 100 B rooms. So there's like 200 decent gigs across the country. And if you're a funny comic, you will get one of those gigs. You really, you just will. But in the voiceover world, there's maybe per month, maybe 2 or 3 gigs for a deep voice actor like me. Like a bad guy role in the next, animated cartoon, or because I get the bad guy roles, or the Marine commercial,
or the dad,
right? Like I'm on an all-black cartoon because of my voice, but so I'm competing against. There's not that many people you're competing against. For my baritone Darth Vader like vocals, there's maybe 10 of us, and we all work. Like, I go up against Billy Brown a lot, he's also an actor. Like he was the bad guy in Sons of Anarchy in the last couple seasons. He's just like this gigantic black dude. He's like a black Clint Eastwood. Like he's got the stubble, that's amazing body. He's a great actor. I'm going up against him and maybe 2 or 3 other guys, for... Like, what did I audition? Voiceover world is very secretive.
So do you have like a voiceover agent manager?
I'm with the top voiceover agency in the world, you'd say. But I got that through Roast Battle, to be honest with you. So, Tyler, the creator, saw me at Roast Battle. He's like, and I had no idea who he was. I'm into like Bon Jovi and Poison.
Right.
So he's like, and it's a joke I do on stage. He's like, I want you to be my dad. I'm like, who are you? Like, he just came up to me. I was like, I want you to be my dad. I'm like, oh, who are you? He's like, oh, I'm Tyler, the creator. I'm like, great. I'm Earl, the comic.
It's kind of a cool story, though, because you hear about these stories of like, oh, well, I was a comic and this person saw me and the next thing you know, I was on a TV show. But
I mean, I lucked out.
It's kind of one of those crazy things that you don't think is going to happen to you. And then all of a sudden it did. It happened to you.
Yeah, I mean, it was so lucky.
Anyway, you've been doing comedy 20 years. And all of a sudden, it's just a regular night. Some guy you don't even know is like, hey, I want you to be my dad on a cartoon. You're like, all right.
Yeah, because this was at the time where I don't even think Jeff was involved with Roast Battle yet. This is when it was just a wild, just like the Gong Show meets All in the Family meets, like, it was like, we went for it back then.
Oh, yeah. It was mayhem.
I mean, they had a rule.
And 1 N-word apiece.
You could
remember that rule in the beginning of Roast Battle?
If it was 2 white comics,
they each got to say the N-word once.
And I'm talking hard ER version.
Yes.
Not the GGA.
And it was just an unwritten rule. It was like it was not even unwritten. It was written. He'd say 1 N-word apiece. It was verbally said.
Yeah.
You each get 1 N-word. Go. And barely anyone used them. Most of the time they were not used, but still.
But one time, and I won't say
they were used.
I won't say the comic's name because he's a good friend, but it was part of the rules. He used it to win a battle because the joke was, it was back and forth, and it was the last joke, and he saved it for the last joke. He's like, well, we both know Matt's dad left him, and his mom fucks. I've been to
mic drop.
He did drop the mic, and let me tell you right now, I've been to Super Bowls, I've been to World Series games, I've been to Stanley Cup
finals.
You have
5 World Series footballs buried in your childhood backyard.
Four. I've been to Kiss concerts. I've never heard a room explode. Like when he dropped the mic, and it was like a Jerry Springer, like, oh, like it was insane. Like, so yeah, I mean, but it was just luck that here's Tyler. I thought he was friends with Jamar because this is when the all Negro wave had just started, forming an identity. Mm-hmm. Because before it had a little structure, it was just whoever wanted to sit across.
What's happening with Roast Battle now? Is it dead?
That I don't know. I mean,
might be dead. I don't know.
I don't know.
Everything's dead right now because of COVID.
I mean, I think they were doing not virtual roast battles, but like Zoom roast battles. I don't, I think I don't know how it comes back and it's the same fun show it used to be. I don't see how you can do those shows or the jokes. I mean, I was talking with someone the other day about it. Like the first battle I had the second battle I had on TV, I was battling Tom Ballard, who is this amazing Australian comic. He's gay, so that's basically what the majority of my jokes were about. And Kevin Hart was judging, so I thought, well, I want to zing Kevin Hart too in a Tom Ballard joke. So I think the joke was something. This has been 4 years, so I'm not sure if I'm remembering it entirely. But the joke was Tom Ballard is gay, so I guess that means he's taking more shots to the back than Kevin's unarmed cousin. And the room blew up. Now I was very excited because Montreal. I will say this about Comedy Central or whoever built the stage. It was amazing. It's probably
it felt good. It was a good room for comedy.
Dude, when they called my name out and these Darth Vader Star Wars doors open up and I walked out, I'll never forget that feeling as long as I live. It was like a Kiss concert started. There was a guy in the front row who had a Skakel Army T-shirt on. I still to this day don't know who that guy was. It was just to go from the belly room with no hope of getting on TV with this little show that could to Montreal, and in my mind millions of people were watching. I don't know if that's true because it was on Comedy Central, but
thousands. For sure.
I mean, at least a couple 100,000 at the minimum. I'll guess 1 million on terms of TV.
I'll guess a couple 100,000
streams. Yeah, you're probably right. We'll consult with Barry Katz on the final numbers. And
Milan used to intern for Barry Katz.
I mean,
I used to produce his podcast. He's done both of our podcasts.
The industry standard. Well, his podcast, to show you how controversial he is, I had 2 huge comics reach out to me after I think I put out, hey, coming on next week on Inappropriate Old Barry Katz, and I took a picture of him on my couch, and both comics say, don't release the episode. I'm like, well, why? Well, he fucked over me, he fucked over this person, he's a bad person, and I'm the type that I won't talk shit about someone unless they wrong me.
Right. I think most people are.
Well, no, I know a lot of people in our business that will talk shit. I know a lot of people talk shit about me getting roast battle, the TV portion, because
I've never heard anyone talk shit about
Well,
it.
It's I'm a better battler than him. Because I'm not really a technical battler.
See, half of our insecurities, people are talking shit about me over
but I know they
are
were.
all in your head. No one's talking shit about you.
I'm telling you right now. I know I'm a very well-liked member of the comedy community, but I know people were going, well, I write better jokes than Skakel does. He just takes off his shirt.
So maybe a couple people in the roast community.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, yeah, and maybe. I'm like, well, it is a TV show.
And then there's tons of people just talking shit about the roast battle community as a whole.
Well, the funny thing is, most of those people, it was mainly alt comics. Oh, roast battle's not comedy. It's hacky, yo mama type jokes. And then they were trying to get on the show.
Yeah.
Eventually
eventually they go, oh, I should probably do that.
Yeah, well,
it's a chance to get on TV and
yeah,
they get a writing job. I'll go sign up for that.
Because, totally. We got into the writing thing initially, and I think a lot of roast battle comics are struggling with writing gigs because that's all they know.
It's different. Yeah.
Well, it's
writing a script is not the same as writing a roast joke.
Well, it's also, award shows are always looking for writers, to give Snoop Dogg a line or, a celebrity, a monologue. And that's not calling someone fat. You have to give them, so they struggle. Some roast battle comics.
Sure. Yeah.
Pat Barker does not struggle. He's a great joke writer.
Right.
Mike Lawrence. But some of the younger comics who got fame on the TV show and some who didn't get the TV show but were good at the weekly show, they really struggle in the writer's room because it's
But they still got those opportunities
once
from that roast battle. But still, it's something to...
Oh, absolutely.
It's something that made me think, should I be doing even though I didn't want to do the roast battle, but because I'm sensitive, I definitely had the thought as a young comic that's not working. The thought crossed my head, am I stupid for not signing up for the roast battle?
Oh, I get it.
I'm sure those alt comics had that same thought.
Yeah. I mean, I benefited probably more than anyone. And it wasn't, I sold out doing it just because I'm more roast battle myself in my act. Hey, I like shitty music. I like, to wear leather pants. Look at me, I'm 52 wearing leather pants. What a moron. I don't feel comfortable looking out at you or your brother or whoever I battled on TV, girlfriends I've battled, go, hey, you're fat. And then, you wonder why you broke up a month later. But, I sold out going, I got, I'm at the time, was it 45 or whatever I was? I got to get on TV soon. I got to sell out, do something.
Right.
So.
Yeah, especially as you get older.
Well, yeah, it's
you get more and more. Yeah, it's a young man's game. You think,
for the most part.
Yeah, exactly.
Although I do find in comedy, if you're actually funny, you can break when you're older. I'm not saying my age.
It's just
absolutely.
less common. But sure, there's the Joey Diaz's,
right, and
Eric Griffin. There's people who kind of
you can but if you look at my season of Roast Battle, I didn't really watch the other ones. Like the comics who were taken care of primarily were youngerish comics. I was thrown to the wolves, but I kept winning, so it's like they had to use me.
Yeah, you were almost an underdog for being the old guy.
Oh, I was the underdog.
Yeah.
Well, they would put me up against people who were. I think, and this is fascinating. If you're trying to get into TV, it's the politics of comedy. Well, this person's boring, but they're a better writer than Earl, so we need Earl to make them look good. To make it is TV. It's like you just can't sit there and go, "Ari Mannis is so Jewish looking." You have to say it in this wild way, or it's just like. We could just email the jokes and they could pick a winner.
Right.
So I decided to do a pro wrestling, type
fun.
Presentation.
Yeah, it's exciting.
So
shirtless, spandex,
leather
hair.
pants. I think for the finals, I was going to come out naked. But
are you in better shape now or then?
I'm in great shape right now.
You're doing good.
Well, because I bought an elliptical at the beginning of the pandemic because gyms were closing, Equinox closed. The Rumble boxing place, I go, and I'm not plugging these places. It's just where I was going. They closed. All the hot yoga places I went to, they closed, which is weird because you would think, whatever your thoughts on coronavirus are, whether you believe it, you're kind
or if you don't believe it,
I do believe it's out there. Trust me on that one.
I don't. It's not.
Well, I mean,
it's a sham.
Well, are you being serious or no?
I mean, it's out there just like the common cold is out there in the world.
Well, I believe it's a little more severe than the common cold.
Yeah, a little more.
Well, there's 300,000 people who've died, so I think it's
allegedly.
Something. What are you, Alex Jones now? Are you going to get into the green people?
I don't know.
I'm just seeing what time it is.
Out there. I'm not a scientist. I think it's out there. I'm not an expert. I just think that the world should be open.
Well, here's my thoughts on it.
I think I'm pissed off that the world is shut down because of this. I don't think that's
so am I.
A reasonable thing.
But I do think that, and this, I'm not a scientist. It's just my uninformed opinion. I think that if you have a good immune system, if you're healthy, even if you get it, you can survive it.
Sure.
I have a brother-in-law. He has severe MS. It's literally the most severe form of MS I've ever seen in someone. This guy was a award-winning cameraman on Spielberg films. He was in decent shape, but he had MS. He got it. He survived.
Yeah. Trump is an obese guy in his 70s on tons of meds.
Eats horribly.
Eats horrible. Chances are you're going to be fine, and that's why. Listen, it's sad. I don't want to murder someone. Oh, that's fine. We're fine. I don't want to murder someone. I don't want to be the cause of a death, and I feel bad for all the people that have died of coronavirus. But at the same time, I don't think that the world should be shut down. That's all I'm saying. And some people would say I'm evil for saying that. I'm a bad guy. I'm an idiot and all the names, whatever. But that's my opinion.
I mean, I went to a Kiss concert probably the week. I think it was maybe a couple days before the country shut down. I think it was March 4th. I was at Staples Center with 20,000 people packed in. Kiss fans, there had to be coronavirus in that crowd that night.
And gonorrhea.
Oh, my God. It was so nasty.
And HIV.
But it probably was. But I do.
And herpes.
It's funny you mention HIV.
And chlamydia.
Every sexual disease known to mankind. And there's a special strain of chlamydia called roast battle. And, I mean, come on, there's some diseases going around that room on a Tuesday night. Anyway, but I liken coronavirus to HIV AIDS from the standpoint of, like, I'm old enough to remember when HIV AIDS came out, like, no one knew, like, it was like, who gets this? At first it was, well, it's just a gay disease because it was happening primarily in bathhouses in New York, Frisco, and West Hollywood. And then I think little by little, a gay guy sleeps with a bisexual man.
Bisexual man
sleeps with a straight woman.
Yeah.
A woman gets it, and then it's like, what is she doing with it? How did she get it? Women can get it. And I really think I still don't think they know who is the most susceptible to coronavirus. Like, first it was older people because their immune system is basically dying. And
Still is older people.
But like, and then
the one who's dying of it,
like the one baby who got, I think the one famous case where the 6-week-old baby died from getting.
Sure,
it.
there's like anomalies, but overall it's just old people.
So, but there are people. I think it's a little more than anomalies. Like, there's a lot of people, or a fair amount of people from like 30 to 50 who have passed or gotten severe.
There's people that get it, but statistically speaking, it's about the same as the flu.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I wish the society was open again, like, you know, comedy. I mean, we all miss comedy. Like, the one show I did at the Comedy Store in the parking lot, like, it was pretty full. We were behind the window, like a hockey.
It's horrible for me.
No, not the OR window show, but it was in the parking lot. You know, and they're obviously everyone's socially distanced with tables 6 feet apart or whatever it was. But I've done comedy for a very long time, 20 years, maybe longer, possibly, and I've never in my life felt the love from an audience of, like, we're glad you guys are here. Like, I think it was like Dean Del Rey and Brian Simpson and me and whoever else was on the show, but the audience was looking at me like, we love you right now. For these next half hour, 40 minutes, we don't have to hear about the deaths of coronavirus or something being shut down. I mean, it was the most amazing show I've ever been a part of from the standpoint of I've never felt love like that from a crowd. And I felt like I needed this too.
Yeah, exactly.
And even though I stumbled on a few jokes because it's been 8 months, I think that was my first show. And I even experienced that to a lesser degree a couple of weeks ago when I opened up for Rob Schneider and the baseball field in Ontario.
Oh, how was that?
It was very cold. Like, he sells out everywhere. He sells out in a pandemic. Like, he's under probably one of 15 comics.
Yeah, he's a movie star.
You know, Rob Schneider, Russell Peters, Jimmy Carr, obviously Rogan and Diaz and a couple others. Like, it was packed. It was Canada cold, I call it. Had to be in the mid to high 30s, which is cold for us. But it was the same type of, you could only see the front row of cars. Have you done an outdoor, like one of those parking lot? Like, you could only see the front row of cars, and then it's just horns. But you could, that front row of cars, and it was also the next night, it was in the rooftop of Irvine Improv. You could see them loving, like, they're almost in tears. They're like, oh my God, we're out again for the next hour or two, even though this guy's making jokes about the fourth guitar player from Doc, and we're loving this. Like, there's almost tears in their eyes. So it was like, it was, you know, amazing and it made me miss, like, oh, I remember the last show I did before the pandemic was in the OR. It was packed. And it was like my perfect audience. Like, if I don't know what my target audience is, but
this was it.
I do oddly well with younger audiences. You wouldn't think, being 52, none of the shows I talk about they're going to get. They weren't born when Miami Vice was on the air. They weren't born for another 10 years. To my left was the Ontario Reign hockey team. Now, that is the Kings, the LA Kings farm team. So it's the future Kings. And I recognized them all. I'm like, oh my God, that's Boko Imama. That's Matt Luft.
You could name the farm players for hockey teams?
For the Kings. I'm such a huge hockey fan that I knew every guy. That's Sean Dursey. They just traded for him with Toronto. Oh my God, that's Paul Ledoux. He's been with the Kings for 2 years. And then to my right, sorority girls. you know, and it's funny, at the end of the night, I hooked up the rain with the sorority girls, and they went to Saddle Ranch.
Nice.
I don't know what happened after, but, like, it was heaven. I can remember that show like it was 2 minutes ago, because it was like...
It was so good.
And then the pandemic hit, and it's like, I missed that. Like, and then, so I got a little bit of taste of it at the outdoor shows. But
how's everything in your personal life? Do you need advice on anything?
right now, it's good. Like
things with your girlfriend, good.
Great.
Is it your girlfriend or fiance?
Fiance.
Fiance. When are you guys getting married?
Well, it's hard to plan something like that in a pandemic.
You're not gonna do a Zoom wedding?
No. I know. Handsome Rob just did one.
He got married.
The bartender.
The bartender. Yeah.
I saw.
He got married to. Yeah, he's been with that girl a long time. Good for him.
So this might be a horrible way to end the podcast because I'm obviously we all need help, but like
nothing off the top of your head.
Well,
You're
I
pretty
mean,
good.
I'm missing comedy. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm lost without it, but like,
sure,
it's definitely a void.
The way I look at it is just like we're never going to have this much time off of comedy again. It's kind of just a forced sabbatical.
Well, I
little
think
vacation.
It will be very interesting. You'll know that first week of shows, life will be normal again. You're going to see who worked and who didn't. Like,
I know I didn't.
But like, if you're still,
I'm gonna work again.
But I mean, by that I mean who worked on their act. Like I've still,
I didn't. I have like 2 new jokes.
But like,
still time. Few more months.
But like I've, on average in a non-pandemic life, I try and write at least a joke or two a day. Most of them horrible, longer versions of one-liners.
Mm-hmm.
So that's.
But you try.
That's 30 to 60 jokes a month I'm writing.
Mm-hmm.
And out of those 30 to 60, there's maybe 5 good ones. So that's 10 minutes. I can do new 10 minutes. I would say in the pandemic, I've lost motivation because you can't tell the jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm doing 15 jokes a month now that I write, and
that's great.
Well, most are horrible. Like I'm very much in the Kiss zone of joke writing. What I mean by that is
Kiss you throw out shit at the wall and see what sticks. Totally, nothing wrong with that.
But I probably do that more than any comic, working or not working. Like Kiss has 40 albums out, literally 40
I didn't
albums.
know it was that much.
They probably have on those albums 400 to 500 songs on those.
Wow,
maybe I'll guess
prolific.
10 to 12 songs per album. They probably have another 100 songs that didn't make the albums. B-sides, what they call in the business, but I don't want to bore you with technical talk. MPYP.
You got a lot of B-sides.
So you've got probably 600 fully written and recorded songs, but you can really only name 5 or 6 Kiss songs. Rock and Roll All Night, Detroit Rock City. That's what I try and do. I want to write 500 bad jokes so I can have 10 ones that people remember. Now
That's
obviously
great.
I'm 52, so it's like, Earl, you better start writing some more. You better get on it, dude.
Better start recording these for the albums.
New faces ain't calling you at 60, bro. So the time is now, brother. But things are going relatively well. I mean,
that's great. Onwards and upwards.
I mean,
I think.
I mean, my fiance is 24 years younger than me, but
that's a good thing.
Well, it is, but I through past relationships of dating younger girls, I figure out.
And I want you to know, I've never hooked up with your fiance.
Well, but see, I don't care about stuff.
I never did.
But here's the thing.
I never did. I don't care what she says. I don't care what anyone else says. I didn't.
But here's the thing, and this is,
Milan didn't either.
Well, I hope not.
I don't know her name.
Perfect. Let's keep it that way. But, I mean, that's, I've never cared about how many guys a girlfriend of mine has slept with before me.
Sure.
I could care less.
Unless she was like, it's 1,000.
But see, and maybe this is the therapy part. Even if it was 1,000, if I don't know who they are, it's like she's never slept with anyone. I've gotten into trouble.
If it was 1,000...
I don't care.
She'd probably have a blown out asshole.
Well, I mean,
and then you'd know.
Well, if it was 1,000 and I put my pee-pee in it, I'm like, I think this girl's done this before because I don't feel anything. But that's just a weird thing I've always had. A girl could literally sleep with 300 guys. But
I don't ask. When a girl's like, you want to know my number? I'm like, nah, I don't care. That's your business.
But that's the thing with younger girls, and I found it, obviously I dated a lot of girls associated with Roast Battle, and I don't know if it's just a Roast Battle thing, but it was the weirdest thing is like so many of the girls I dated from that show wanted to know. They wanted to know names, and I'm like, if I can give one bit of advice on unlicensed therapy, it would be this, to new couples. To new couples, you don't want to know the names.
You don't want to know.
You don't want to know the numbers. They already did it, so it's not going to. It literally nothing good will come from knowing the number or the names, because then, and this goes more towards.
And even if she tells you, it's probably not even true.
Well, I'm honest. Yeah. So, if someone asks me, I'll tell them. I'll give them an estimation. I don't keep numbers.
I have a list.
Well, I know someone who does. I know a girl who has a list.
I have a list, too.
I don't.
It's for safety, is why I have it.
Well, this goes back to 2 hours ago when I said, I try my best not to burn girls, which is why, I still talk to the first girl I had sex with. We don't talk a lot. I get Christmas cards from probably 3 out of the last 4 girlfriends' parents. Because and obviously with the one who the falling out happened, I think even her parent, the one parent, I would be happy if we were in a room together. It goes to not burning people. But getting back to with the younger women I've dated, the second we had that conversation of, well, I slept with this person who's a comic, and then they start stalking their Instagram page, and they see a picture of them in a bikini. It's like, well, you like that more than my body, and it's such a rabbit hole of if you told me, let's say we were gay, let's say you and I are gay.
You think we could be one day?
Well, pussy's been a gateway drug to dick for me, Holmes.
One day, hypothetically, God forbid, your fiance passes in a car accident, you think me and you could ever be a thing?
Let's say you and me are a couple, a gay couple.
Who's top, who's bottom?
Well, trust me, you don't want to be a bottom with me.
So you're saying I got to be top?
Well,
I got to pound that?
We'll talk about
I got to pound that man pussy of yours?
The whole point of this conversation. This probably wasn't the best example. If you and I are a couple, I don't want to know if you've hooked up with Jimmy Rogers. I
haven't.
Well, you might. But you know what I'm saying? If you have, great. If you
haven't,
because then
never will.
But if we were younger, let's say we're 2 young gay dudes, and I said, hey. I'm trying to give you an insight of how a younger mind thinks. This is not for you or your brother. This is for the people listening.
Okay.
So if I say to you, this has happened to me. Ask me if I've hooked up with Jimmy Rogers.
Have you ever hooked up with Jimmy Rogers?
Let's say I say yes. What are you going to do? You're going to go on Jimmy's page. By the way, Jimmy Rogers is a great comic.
Nice guy, funny.
He's the funniest. He's so gay, he's
sweet.
Straight.
Yeah.
I'm just using him as in a bad
definitely
example.
not so gay straight. He's so gay that he's super gay.
He's so gay, he's gay.
He's so gay. He's
You're
gay.
probably going to go on his Instagram page and you're going to look at pictures of us together. Maybe you see.
And then when I see him, there's going to be some animosity and overthinking. It's not going to lead to anything good by you telling me that. Yeah,
and
totally.
It's not to say that you should lie. I've had girls say, have you slept with this person at the Comedy Store? And I'll be like, yeah, because I'm honest. And then they're up at the Comedy Store. They see that person. There's an uncomfortable vibe.
Totally.
The other girl doesn't know why, because it's that's Earl. We're cool.
Yeah.
Oh, she's looking at me mean. Oh, she must have put it together. It never worked. It's never worked out. I've had this happen to me before. I got at 4:05. I got to put money in the meter.
It's okay.
That's all good.
Wrap up here.
You break up with someone. You get back together, and they say, "Have you hooked up with people?" It's like, why do you want to know?
Doesn't matter.
We were single.
Yeah.
We were broken up. You could have fucked 12 guys. I don't care. I don't want to know. I don't want to know their names.
Yeah.
I've hooked up with a few people myself. You don't need to know their names, and it's not like you're trying to hide it from them.
Right.
But it's because here's what's
not going to lead to anything good.
Here's what's
there's
going to lead to.
There's nothing good from it.
This is what's going to lead to. You mentioned one name. Yeah, I hooked up with Susie Q, and then they're going to want to one up you. They're going to be like, "Well, I hooked up with your your friend from Roast Battle, Jimmy Punjabi, and then you're probably kicking
Jimmy Punjabi, really good roaster.
yeah, and then you're gonna want to. Okay, well, you maybe you don't like Jimmy Punjabi, so you're like, well, all right, well,
I hooked up with your sister.
Right, and then
I fucked your sister,
and then it's like
while we were on a break. Your sister, your twin sister, right. I fucked her.
Right, and then you're like, well, I hooked up with Peter Punani, and it just goes. It's a back and forth. It's like,
is that Indian? Is he Indian? Peter Punani.
Peter Punani. He's a Afghani comic. He kills. Get it? Hello. So it just never ends well because it gets into a tay-to-tay ego. Like, I'm just saying, I don't want to know.
Smart, reasonable advice.
Well, it's from an older dude,
and you might even think, I could handle it. I'm mature. It doesn't bother me. It will bother you.
It will bother you.
It'll bother her. So just don't do it. Even if you think you can handle it, you can't.
Well, this is more for older dudes dating younger girls.
No, I think this advice is for anyone.
Well,
if it's a young person dating a young person, if you guys take a break, if you guys had a past, you don't need to tell each other about it.
Right. Like, but I think, though, that, and this goes back to, certain people having trouble with allegations or whatever. Like, you burn a younger girl, they're going to process it differently because in most cases, not all, but in most cases, they haven't experienced enough life to know how to reasonably assess, okay, A, B, C, D. They're going to go right to D. And like, whereas if you burn an old...
Before you know it, your tires are slashed, and they've taken all your stuff out of your apartment and given it to the garage sale next door, and you're going and buying your own stuff from a garage sale.
This sounds a little specific.
May have happened to me once.
I mean, listen, I'm the king of bad breakups, but in 99% of those cases, I end up down the road being friendly with them. Maybe not best friends, but if I see them at the Comedy Store, it's like we hug each other. Hey, how you doing? Oh, is this your boyfriend? Hey, nice to meet you. Whatever. That's my therapy version.
That's big dick confidence right there.
Well, that's something my mom told me, and it's true. Within 99.9% of accuracy. She told me when I first started having sex, always make them happy first, i.e. make them come first.
Your mom told you this?
My mom was a strange
Your
woman.
mom with tumors all over her body said make all your girlfriends come.
My mom, in her way, like, I think it's why people love me on the comedy scene.
She had a tumor on her brain if she was telling her son this.
Well, here's the thing,
apologies, because she probably did.
she did. Probably did. I mean, let me tell you, when you see someone riddled with cancer dead, when I walked into the room and she had literally just passed right before I walked into the room, you would never smoke a cigarette again. But she taught me two things.
Make girls come.
Yeah, absolutely. Make them happy.
My mom taught me two things. Always make a girl come first. And what's the second
Make
thing?
them happy first, and they will always come back. Now, I'm not saying every single girl I've slept with has come back, but...
a lot have.
A lot have, and even if we don't have sex again, it's like, hey, this guy treated me right. How you doing, Earl? This is your fiance? Nice to meet you. This is my husband or whatever. And
It's true. If you make a girl orgasm... chances are she's going to want to orgasm again.
And if you're single and, they're horny, you're horny, they're going to, hey, what are you doing tonight? You in about 20 minutes. And the second thing my mom said is treat everyone the same, which is why I see Russell Peters, I hug him. I see Boone Shakalaka, maybe I don't hug him, but like...
I used to hug him. One day he started hugging me too much, and I said, you're not allowed to hug me anymore.
Well, I almost got killed during right after the George Floyd thing. I'm walking my dog in West Hollywood, and that's the epicenter of some of the protests. No, because the sheriff's station's right there.
It got a little confusing.
And Boone...
There were riots.
Boone is on the bus bench outside the West Hollywood Sheriff's. He sees me. I'm walking Lois, and he starts yelling, "Who killed George Floyd?" And I'm like, and he's like following me, doing.
Wasn't there a point where everyone thought he died or something?
Oh no, I have multiple pictures of him during the pandemic.
No, I believe you. I'm saying, wasn't there a point though where everyone thought he was dead for a minute?
Yes.
Yeah.
Boone is, if he doesn't die from coronavirus, no one will.
I don't think he will.
But he's like, who killed George Floyd? Who shot George Floyd? I'm like, oh, dude, not right now. It's too hot right now. It's like there's still protesters around, and like there's people with backpacks with spray paint, coming out of their tops. I'm like, dude, not now. I gotta go.
But he's black and gay. He could talk about anything.
I'm not.
Yeah, but at least you're talking about with him.
I'm white and as straight as you can get. I mean, so. But my point is, I talk to Boone the same way I talk to Russell Peters.
I agree. You're nice to everyone.
Well, I try and be.
You've always been nice to me. You've been nice to everyone. You're beloved because you will give anyone the time of the day. You will talk to anyone. It's a good quality.
It is and it isn't because
probably ends you up with a lot of people talking to who you don't want to be talking to.
Well, think,
but it's a good quality. You have it. Steve Simone probably has it the worst.
Steve Simone.
Steve Simone's very nice to everyone.
Steve Byrne. I haven't
noticed that with Steve Byrne, but I believe.
But
it.
I mean, like he's so. I've never seen the bad. If he has a bad side, I've never seen it. Josh Wolf, Russell.
Oh yeah, Josh Wolf.
Can you imagine how many people hit up Russell for cash or gigs?
Oh yeah. But at least they're like, yeah.
So it can. You think in hindsight it would help you in comedy. Everyone would want to help you because you're so nice. But I find, in my case, that sometimes people will want to burn you because they know you're not going to do anything.
Interesting.
Which now doesn't happen because the last couple of years I've spoke out about, like.
Yeah, it's funny because you are a very nice guy, but if someone looked at your Twitter alone, they'd be like, that's not that nice of a guy.
Well, I remember I did the Roast Battle podcast once, and this was my prime anger of the show for how I was treated. Moses asked me to come down to the Comedy Central, the Viacom building, because that's where they, I guess, moved from the Comedy Store to the actual Comedy Central's building, and I went nuts. Like, I went into the most pro wrestling heel speech, and I meant every word of it. I had, like, the head of Comedy Central call me and like, hey, man, what can we do to make you quiet? like, do you want to do Clusterfest? I'm like, yeah, I do, bro, and we're gonna do shows too. Like,
so you did Clusterfest?
Yeah,
that's sick. I didn't even know you did Clusterfest.
I did Clusterfest. Like, I'm sure they gave it to me just to be quiet.
Who cares?
But I was pissed. Like, and I still am about how I was treated. But my point is, 5 years ago, I wouldn't have said anything. I just, I got fucked over on a TV show. I'll just take it. But now I'm like, no, I won't take it.
You got nothing to lose.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, it was like, and I know we got to wrap it up, but it was like, this goes to the analytical part. Okay, if I speak out about Comedy Central, what's going to happen? What's the worst thing that can happen?
I'm not on Comedy Central anymore, which I'm not anyway.
Yeah, that was exactly. I'm like, well, they're not. I couldn't even get on at midnight at the height of my roast battle fame, and I saw like Jay Mandium on at midnight twice. No offense to him, but like I'm
Brian Monarch.
Yeah, I'm like.
I'm not going to say any more names, but there were a lot of.
But
there
were like, here I am, and. Star is definitely the wrong word because Roast Battle does not make stars. But here I am, the featured roaster in Roast Battle. They used me in the commercials for season 3 still. I'm like, wait a minute. What the fuck? That's me. And I can't even get on a basic show like At Midnight. And I beat one of their head writers, and I still can't get on the goddamn show.
Yeah, that's why I got canceled.
So, well, I'm not saying it got... Well, maybe.
Maybe
you have good people on it.
Yeah. But, it's like anything else. You're a straight white guy. You're not famous. You're not diverse.
No, you're right. I get it.
You don't know the casting director. It happens.
Well, I do. Maybe that was the problem.
Maybe
he knew me.
Yeah.
Well, he came up to me at Clusterfest and goes, "Hey, I'm a big fan." I'm like, "Big fan? You put people Byron Allen would pass on Comics Unleashed." She's like,
"That's true."
Like, what the fuck? But now I have I don't know if balls is the right word, and but
you have the balls to stick up for yourself.
Well, you have to. I finally learned after 20 years, if you don't stick up for yourself in this business,
no one else is going to.
You'll get walked on.
Yeah.
And if Comedy Central ever calls me again to do a show, I think they will know we better treat them right. Now, they might say, well, just use someone else, which is probably what's going to happen. But, I think I did it. Like you mentioned my Twitter, I don't take back one tweet. Because I meant because someone said to me the other day, I was like, dude, you're pretty successful from the standpoint of your fame level. You've done some shows. You've been on TV enough where, most people will kill for your credits. Why are you so bitter? And I'm like, I'm honest. I don't think that's bitter. Like, if something happened to you and you speak out about it, I don't think that's bitter. Like, being bitter is like, well, so-and-so's, like, I had a conversation once about Amy Schumer. Someone said, well, she's not funny. Now, I don't know her act. I've never listened to one of her specials. I want to do comedy. I don't want to watch it. And I'm like, well, why don't you think she's funny? Well, and they were stuttering and stammering. Well, no one deserves $37 million a year to do stand-up. I'm like, so you're just bitter she's making more money than you. Like, she might not be funny. She might be hilarious. I don't know. I couldn't tell you one of her jokes. So that's bitter. Like,
yeah.
So to me, like,
yeah, when you got nothing to back it up, you're just saying things out of anger. That's
like, this podcast setup is 100 times better than mine. It's got high-def cameras, beautiful TV, a great background.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much. A lot of work went into this.
Absolutely. But it's like if I left this show and I called up Brian Moses or one of my other good friends and said, well, Ari's podcast sucks. Why? Oh, I don't know. I mean, no one needs 4 high-def cameras to do a fucking podcast. No one needs a big screen TV and a producer and a nice office. Fuck it, my podcast is better.
Yeah, that's better.
That's me.
Yeah, you're right.
So.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, Earl. Thank
Always,
you so much.
Dude. I was excited last night when you called me and said, do you want? I'm like, absolutely.
Fuck yeah. Milan, did we leave anything else out? Anything you want to ask?
I think we learned a lot about Earl today, so.
Well, I keep it real. I'm a voice of the voiceless. I speak for the unspoken. If you burn me, I'm going to burn you twice as hard.
Damn.
Trust me on that one. And I got some stuff on people. I could ruin people with one tweet.
Don't mess with this man.
It's not don't mess with me. But it's the old saying in life.
Don't mess with me because I'll have him mess with you.
Oh, well, yeah.
I want Earl on my team. If we're picking a flag football game, I'm not picking you last. I'll tell you that right now.
Well,
I'm picking you in the upper 50% of that flag football pick.
First of all, in any athletic endeavor involving comics, I should be the first draft pick, me and Carrot Top. But anyway, is the camera picking me up right now?
That one is out of space. Go to that one.
This is for all you haters out there, all you open mic losers who go to Jeff's pool parties trying to get favor, telling his friend Kai how much you like his pictures, thinking you're cool at a house in the hills. Well, just know it's going to be a B-level celebrity that takes your spot on the next whatever presents whatever. It's the old saying in life. You like to hear someone's doing pretty good, but you don't want to hear they're doing better than you. And let me tell you, all you schlubs who snuck into the Comedy Store window when paid regulars didn't want to do a show because they realized how bad it was, you're not passed at the Comedy Store. You never will be. So give up. I'm like Richard Crenna at the end of Rambo telling Stallone, it's over. It's over for you. You got no life. You got no house. Your writing gigs have dried up quicker than a porn star on menopause. It's over, Johnny. So quit the poeming. Quit the phoniness. It's done.
Fuck you.
There was 4 writing gigs this last month.
You got none of them.
For people who were good at writing roast-style jokes. You guys didn't get it.
And you're not getting the next ones.
You're not.
We are.
And some of you might be saying, well, Earl, we got writing gigs and you didn't. I never sent in one packet because I'm a performer.
And an artist.
I'm an artist.
He's got a backbone. He's got some soul left. He's not a piece of shit.
Yeah. I'm not the type that tells someone, hey, great set, when they didn't even go on yet, you phony baboons. Oh, you're pro-women. Let's take down all the Me Too comics, but yet you'll open up for Jeremy Piven at an outdoor comedy show, you pigs. You palming gargoyles. And if you got a problem with me, say it to my face. I'll be at the West Hollywood Dog Park from 3 to 4. That dog park's out of control, man. My dog Lois has been raped like 6 times there. So some of you would fit in real well there.
Amen. God bless you. Thank you. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.
There is no God.
Yeah, there's God. I could prove to you God's real right now.
The only way that you'll find out there's God is when my fiancée is in my bed at night. Because you'll hear God's name quite a lot.
You're listening to Unlicensed Therapy with Ari Mannis.
That was the whole episode. Did you guys like it? I think you did. I already said this at the beginning of the show, but yeah, share it with your friends. Get it out there. Then maybe I could do it every single week. Then maybe people won't use COVID-19 as an excuse not to come into the studio. Notice that I don't do Zoom podcasts. I don't do those remote ones. I don't like them. I don't listen to them. And I'm not doing them here. In person only. Bad boys. We'll see you guys next week. God bless.